this video I'm going to be talking about compound meter, odd meter, and complex meter. Compound meter is a meter in which there's a subdivision of 3. So we're talking about 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. While we can conduct 6/8 with 6 beats in a measure, or 12/8 even with 12 beats in a measure, it is much more common to conduct what we call the macro beat. In other words, 6/8 as often is performed in 2, it has a 2 feel, and the conductor would therefore use a standard 2 pattern. It would look the same as 2/4, while the feel would be different. 3/4 likewise is the pattern you would use for 9/8 most of the time, and 4/4 corresponds to 12/8. Odd meter is when you have a number like 5, 7, 11, or 13 in the upper as the upper figure in a time signature. These are combinations of 2s and 3s in almost all instances. So in 5, for example, we have a combination of 2 plus 3, or metrical stress of 3 plus 2. Now you can conduct using the standard 2 and 3 patterns in these instances, or you could use the 5 pattern that I outlined in a previous video. That largely depends on your discretion as a conductor and what you think is most fitting for the musical circumstances. 7 would be 2/2/3, or 2/3/2, or 3/2/2. Now in the event that the 2s are adjacent to one another, say a 3/2/2, it's possible that you could conduct a 3 plus 4 pattern in that case instead of a 3/2/2. Again, where's the emphasis? What makes the most sense musically in that situation? Now I'd like to talk about complex meter. I'm talking about meters like 5/8 and 7/8. These are often conducted with a macro pattern. So while it's possible to conduct, say, 5/8 with 5 beats per measure, it is more commonly performed at a tempo in which it makes the most sense to show only 2 beats. So for 5/8, you would use a standard 2 pattern, 3 subdivisions on one of the beats, and 2 subdivisions on the other. So if I'm in 5/8 with a metrical stress of 3 plus 2, it might look something like this. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. If I'm in 7/8, let's say a 2/2/3 version of 7, there are 3 macro beats there, and I would use the standard 3 pattern, except again my macro beats are not equal. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Sometimes you can have a complex meter even if it doesn't first appear that way. In other words, something like 8/8. 8/8 mathematically is the same as 4/4. In other words, you have 8 eighth notes in a measure. The difference, though, is that 8/8 might not have the same metrical stress. 8/8 might be a 3/2/3 emphasis, for example. So when it comes to complex meters, you do have to sometimes be careful about that number in the top. It just might be an even number. Finally, I just want to say conducting is a lot like performing on your voice or an instrument. In other words, we have to have a whole bunch of things that are automatic. When you're singing or playing your instrument, you have to worry about fingerings, you have to worry about diction and articulation, you have to worry about reading if you're sight reading, you have to worry about your posture, you have to worry about whether you're in time with other people, if you're in tune with other people, are you in balance with other people. We can only concentrate on so many things at once. Conductors need to have their patterns automatic. Practicing a complex meter in isolation may not be that difficult. Doing it in the real world is something else. especially in a rehearsal where you are receiving feedback from the instrumentalist, and you have to act on that. You're analyzing data. You stink! And so the patterns need to be automatic in that situation. And I would say in a concert as well, because in a concert, obviously, there are still things that happen spontaneously that you need to react to. You have to think about what you're going to say when you address the audience between pieces. There's a lot going on, and you will make mistakes unless if you study your scores, practice, and have things become automatic. Thank you so much for watching.